Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my third episode of my Average Fan Sports Talk podcast. This week, I'm just be covering all the what I think are major things in sports, which really there wasn't a whole lot, so I might just throw in something to talk about sports related, just to try to get to the near half-hour mark. But let's start with the NFL. So obviously getting well, we're past the midway point of the season. We kind of know, for the most part, who the good teams are and who the bad teams are. I can say myself watching my Packers on Monday night. I mean, our defense is elite. Our play calling is questionable on offense. I mean, I know Philly's got a good defense, but yeah, I mean it's need to work on our play calling because even I knew that was a run on 4th and 1 right up the middle. Knowing our play calling tendencies, need to definitely change on that. But I mean, there are some other great games over this past NFL weekend. I mean, you had the Patriots surprising, beating. Well, I guess it wasn't really surprising, but beating the Buccaneers. I mean, that was a good game. One surprising game was how bad. Actually, it was just a bad loss in general that the Bills lost to the Dolphins. I mean, I've been kind of like near a Bills bandwagon Super Bowl, like everybody's been for the last few years, but that loss just turned me off. And with the Patriots win last night, I just don't know if I even trust the Bills going into the playoffs. I mean, I know a week ago or two they beat Kansas City and everyone's riding high, and then you come into this. I mean, maybe it was just you rode so high and big letdown. I don't know. The Bears beat the Giants with a fourth quarter comeback. That might be only because Jackson Dart got a concussion. Still don't trust Bears and the quarterback. Never liked him. Let's see, what was another good game? I guess apparently the fourth quarter of the Texans-Jaguars game was good. I mean, Texans scored 26 points to beat the Jaguars in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, that was okay. And then the other three afternoon games were all completely blowouts. I mean, the 49ers, were in it for the most part till midway through the fourth quarter, and the Rams just pulled away. And the Seahawks, they just obliterated the Cardinals, and that wasn't even a game. And the Lions and Commanders, everyone knew that was going to be bad. And then the Steelers and Chargers, that was one that I struggled picking. And the Chargers turned out to win that, but that was a close one. And again, if you see me looking away, it's because I am using my laptop just for notes in front of me, just so you're aware. And speaking of this, every week at ESPN or NFL or wherever you read for your power rankings puts out their power rankings. And if you watch ESPN or First Take, you see Stephen A's top 5 teams. I'm just going to give you my top teams I think are right now playing the best. I don't know how far I'll go down the list, but right now for me, it's a tie between the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. I like what Matthew Stafford's doing. I like their offense. You got Devontae Adams. You got Puka Nacua. You got Kylen Williams. You got Blake Corum. And that defense is just great. They should have beat Philadelphia. Then they would be 8-1, so 7-2, and whatnot. So I think they're playing really great, offensively clicking and everything. And they go. It's hard to argue beyond them. Seahawks, I think, are also right there. Neutral site, neutral field. I don't know who I would pick. Seahawks got Jackson Smith and Jigba. They is traded for the Saints. Deep threat. I mean, they can pass the ball over a lot. Their defense is great. They just struggle running the ball. I think if, a neutral field, neutral site, maybe I might lean towards the Rams just because I still have the images and memories of Sam Darnold as a Jet and as a Panther, and they weren't very great. And I'm trying to push them out of my head. But, since his tenure with Minnesota was great until the last 2 weeks of the season. And then even this year, Seattle, I mean, they've been better than I thought advertised. I mean, I know they had Geno last year, but Geno had a couple of good years, but never was a great quarterback or a quarterback I put in the top tier. But I have them 1 and 2. 3 would happen to be the Indianapolis Colts. I just think offensively, defensively, they got it working. Daniel Jones, I still have a little trust issue with him, considering, again, Giants. I don't know if, like I said last week, if it's a whole New York City thing where they just can't play anymore or what, and Jonathan Taylor has just been dominating the NFL this year when healthy. I mean, he's been arguably, when healthy, pretty much the best back since he came out. I mean, some people might want to say Saquon or Derrick Henry, but I think since he's came out, he's been arguably one of the top 2, 3 running backs that you want on your team. 4 right now, I have the New England Patriots, and I'm not going to include their game that they played last night, but I mean, they've been pressing everybody. I mean, they beat up on some bad teams, but they've also beat the Bills and the Bucks. I mean, those are 2 good teams, and bad teams, you're supposed to beat them, and that's what they've done. They lost to the Raiders beginning of the year. It's first game of the year. Trying to feel anybody out. They had a bad game against the Steelers where they turned the ball over like 5 or 6 times. The Steelers still barely won. So if they didn't turn them over, I mean, they could have blown out the Steelers. But other than that, I mean, they've been playing great. Drake May is looking like an MVP candidate. And Mike Vrabel is definitely coaching them better than what I thought. Philadelphia, I have number 5 team on my power rankings. They're great. I know they have that whole A.J. Brown fit in, fit out issue and whatnot. But I think they're still, an elite team. I mean, when they get everything all clicking and everything, they're still elite. Number 6 is Detroit. Number 7 is Tampa. Number 8 is Denver, just because I don't trust their offense. I mean, their offense is putrid at best right now. I mean, it's been horrible. Their defense is elite, but it's not a team I would trust going into the playoffs with their defense. See, so was that 8? 9, I'm going to go with the Chargers. And 10, I'm going to have to go against my in-state rivals in the Chicago Bears right now. Looking at the outside, 3 teams on the outside of my top 10 are the Chargers. Or no, did I say Chargers? I'm not sure if I said Chargers. I think I said Chargers 9 and then Bears 10. And the outside is my Packers and then 49ers outside my top 10. But that's my top 10. That's who I pretty much think are the top teams in the NFL right now. Bills are probably 13, and then I'm not going to go down the list of everybody else, but that's who I have currently in my top 10 and whatnot. Overall, moving on to seasonal picks, I'm 99 and 50 throughout the year, so that's pretty good percentage, I think. I don't know what the percentage is off the top of my head, but it's getting about 2 out of every 3 games right, so that's 66% basically. Went 8-6 last week, not a great week. Games I missed last week: Bills, I didn't expect them to lose. Buccaneers, Panthers pulled out a week after beating my Packers in Lambeau, could barely score a point. Jaguars I picked, but they were winning 29-10 going in the fourth quarter, so I thought that was a pretty safe bet. Steelers I picked, and then even last week I said I picked the Packers with my, I don't know what, heart maybe, wanting them to win, but it didn't turn out so well. And already this week I already 1-0. I picked the Patriots. For my picks this week, I'm picking Miami over Washington. Miami's been, I guess, doing pretty good, and they kind of got me impressed with what they've done over the last few games, but they're 3-7. Washington's 3-7. There's no Jalen Daniels. So I think they should win that one easily. Carolina, Atlanta. I think I'm going to pick Atlanta. I just don't know what to make of either one of those teams. I mean, I'm looking right now. The ESPN picks can pick them. It's about 2/3 picking Atlanta, but I think Atlanta has a better roster, better everything. But I just don't know what to make of them. Then the Buccaneers and Bills, I'm really down on the Bills right now, so I'm picking the Buccaneers. I think offensively they have more weapons. Defensively, I think I trust them a little bit more, even though it's in Buffalo. Tampa has done typically well traveling in the cold. They're not like the Dolphins that can't go up and play in the cold. Still picking the Texans over the Titans, even though the Texans are not going to have their starting quarterback. I think they have a good enough roster to beat the Titans. One I'm struggling with, and it's an interdivisional matchup. The Vikings and Bears. I think they were a close game earlier this year. I think Minnesota pulled it out late. I think Minnesota can beat the Bears at home. I don't know. That's what I'm picking. Look, a 50-50 pick on Pigskin. 53% Vikings, 47% Bears. I don't like either team. More of the Vikings than the Bears. That's because they've been more relevant, and the Bears have been over my whole lifetime. Picking my Giants, or not my Giants, my Packers over the Giants. I mean, there's no Jackson Dart. Jameis Winston starting, so that's going to be like 2 or 3 picks. I mean, that guy's a pick machine. I think the Steelers should beat the Bengals, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals win. I mean, Joe Flacco always has played well against the Steelers, and he can throw up a 420-yard, 4-touchdown game, or he can do horrible. But we'll see. Another one I'm iffy on picking, although I think I'm going to stick with the Chargers over the Jaguars. 2 teams I do not trust. So I'm going to stay with the Chargers. And then probably the game of the week, Seahawks at Rams. On neutral field, I pick Rams. At home field, I'm going to pick Rams. I just think this game's going to tell me a lot about both these teams and how good they are. So we'll see about that one. 49ers should beat the Cardinals. I hear Brock Purdy's coming back, so we'll see how he does. We got Mac Jones waiting in the ring, and maybe Brock Purdy loses his job the same way he got it, being injured and then coming back and not doing well. The Ravens should beat the Browns. Picking Kansas City over Denver. I've read a lot of Denver Broncos players are out, so that should help Kansas City. And Kansas City really, really needs this game. I mean, they're 3 games behind the division, or 2.5. This is almost like a playoff game for them, because if they lose, they'll be 500 and really stretching to get in. I mean, they got definitely a lot of tough games coming up, so within the division. I think the Eagles will beat the Lions. I think defensively they can match up well against the Lions' offense. And offensively, I think they're overall defensively, Detroit's offense going against Philly's defense, I think, is equal. I think Philly's offense going up against Detroit's defense gives a slight edge to Philadelphia. So I think Philadelphia should win that game. And then we finish off with the Dallas Cowboys against the Raiders. Cowboys are coming off a bye. I think maybe the Raiders are coming off a bye too. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I said the Raiders. So they should. I said that 2 weeks ago. Beat the They should win. They should beat the Cardinals. They didn't. But let's move on to the NBA. They announced a new All-Star format, NBA versus the World. Still confused on the whole lineup of 16 and 8 or how they're going to make it fair, because I'm used to 12 on 12 or even last year's god-awful format. But hopefully they actually play and not have one of these 240 to 220 All-Star games. I mean, it's just pathetic. I know you're just out there just shooting and having fun, but the average fan, wants to see you play defense. We grew up in the 90s and early 2000s before it became a fucking joke. Watching y'all play. Michael Jordan, Robinson, Mourning, Kobe. They took these games very seriously as a show. Hey, I am the elite all-star, or I am the best player. Now it's, oh, look at me, I can shoot 23s and make 23s in an all-star game and do 55,000 dunks and alley-oops with no defense, because that's going to happen in a real game. Yeah, no. Hopefully they take this more seriously and whatnot, because otherwise it's pretty much just a joke. The only thing people show up for is really the three-point contest, because even a slam dunk is a joke. A lot of people like to pin on LeBron James. Oh, he never entered. Well, there's many other superstars that haven't entered after LeBron James. You can't just blame it on him. Would I like to see him enter and do it once? Absolutely. But do I hold it against him? No. John Morant hasn't done it. Zion hasn't done it. Did Jaylen Brown do it? I don't know. Jason Tatum, KD. And there's a million other superstars. Giannis, they haven't done it. So, and we're about 12 games into the NBA season, 12, 13 games in. So, we're about 1/8 done. Standings are starting to take form. You got some teams that are really struggling. One of them is the Pacers. I know they lost Tyrese Halliburton, but man, their record. You look at them without him. They're horrible, 1-11. So it makes you wonder if maybe he should really be the MVP. Because he got them to the finals and was starting off the Game 7, having a great Game 7 against the Thunders. Before he tore his Achilles and pretty much gone for the year. Unless maybe they make a push to get into the playing spot. But they're 1-11 right now, so that's not looking very good. Especially when you're tied with Brooklyn and Washington. Two other franchises that are trying to lose and whatnot to get into the lottery. So, it's not very good and whatnot. Elsewhere in the East, Detroit's shockingly on top. And then there's a whole group 2 through 10. Or actually, I even throw Boston in there at 6 and 7 and 11. Just 2 games separating. All with 7 wins down to 7 losses. So East is definitely going to be interesting. I don't know how some of these teams can keep it up with Atlanta and Toronto. Can they hang into the top 6? Cleveland's doing good. They were number 1 seed last year. Philadelphia looks good with Maxey and Embiid looking good again, and BJ is going to be surprising Knicks or wherever they should be. So, see, and then the West, well, the Lakers had a big game against the Thunder the other night, and they got destroyed. And LeBron's starting to ramp up, coming back. So, who knows? Maybe if LeBron was there, they don't get blown out by as much. I don't know. But you take Oklahoma City out, or if you just look at 2 through 9, I mean, they're separated by 2.5, 3 games. From Denver at 9-2 to Golden State at 7-6. So definitely interesting to see. And two teams are shockingly in the play-in tournament that I wouldn't have thought of, at least being in the play-in portion or 7 through 10 standings as the Jazz and the Trailblazers. I think, they'll probably fall down, maybe even the Suns a little bit. I expect Dallas to rise. Not sure about the Kings, Clippers, or Grizzlies. I mean, Clippers and Grizzlies I expect to rise too, maybe. Not sure about the Kings. But we're getting to the heart of the NBA season. And, it's going to be a long grind. So, see about that. Next, we got the college football rankings and whatnot. And it's really interesting because you got obviously the top 3 teams: Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, all undefeated. They're the only 3 undefeated teams left in the nation. And you got Alabama ahead of Georgia. I respect that because Alabama beat Georgia. Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Oregon, Notre Dame, Texas, which is the last team currently in. Because then you got Miami and South Florida as the non-Power 5. So this week, you look at the college football top 25 schedule. I mean, there's some definitely big games, if I can pull it up. Here, I mean, you got I don't know why it won't let me pull it up, but maybe if I go scores, it'll pull up. I think you got Texas. Let's see. You got Notre Dame and Pittsburgh, so that could be a real deciding game as far as the college football playoffs. At Pittsburgh, they would upset Notre Dame may get in. I don't think I'd move Pittsburgh in, but you never know. South Carolina, they face Navy. I guess because I'm a Marine, I'll be rooting for Navy, but that's a big game for them. They need to Florida needs to win in order to stay in. Alabama and Oklahoma, another big game. Both teams needing it to. Oklahoma is right behind Texas, so they needed to stay in the college football playoffs, and Alabama needs to stay where they're at season-wise. Texas should beat UFC, so I'm not too worried about that. Miami should beat NC State. But if they don't, Georgia Tech's right there behind them. Boston College right there. And I see Virginia right there with them in the ACC. Needs to beat Duke, although Duke is favored. So we'll see if that happens. Let's see. Here it is. Texas at Georgia. Georgia's favored by 6.5. Texas needs that game to stay in it. Otherwise, depending on what happens to Bama, BYU might be back in it. A couple other teams might be back in it. So it's a big week in college sports, especially for the rankings for the college football playoffs. So, and then a lot of people don't care about the FCS, but Notre Dame, Montana, the Montana's teams are doing good, and Lehigh all undefeated. Even Harvard's undefeated in their football, even though it's just a step below Division One, but it's about Division Two. So that's also interesting too. And then the only reason why I care about Division Three football is because from Wisconsin, so I try to see and root for the Wisconsin teams. And right now, the last Wisconsin team that I know is great in Division Three was Wisconsin Whitewater. They're ranked 16th. Where River Falls is up there in 5th. So definitely some good football played all in other leagues and everything. And the big thing about baseball, let's see, was it Shohei Ohtani won the MVP. He deserved. Paul Skeens, the Pirates won the Cy Young. I don't know who won the Cy Young for the AL. But the big thing about baseball was Judge and Cal Raleigh. Judge won his MVP. I know he had better batting average. He hit like near 300 or over 350 some odd home runs. And I mean, he plays in the Yankees, so it's a big market. And everyone's always gonna vote for big markets, but I personally thought that Cal Raleigh meant more to his team than Aaron Judge. I know Judge carried the Yankees to where they are, even though he missed some time. They tied with Toronto in the division, but they were a wild card team. Seattle won their division, and it wasn't like the record was off by terrible amounts. I mean, 4 games, 94 to 90 wins, and he hit 60 home runs, most for a catcher. I just thought he should have got it personally, but I guess their votes were real close. There was 2 or 3 votes separating them, so real close. But it's real close about it. I mean, I can't get mad. It wasn't like Judge blew him away like by 10, 15 votes. It was real close, and I understood it was gonna be close because both of them played great and everything and deserved it. And I really don't know a whole lot about the AL. I just follow the NL with my Brewers being in the LL. But it was real close. Let me see if I can pull up the votes here real quick. So it looks like it was 4 first place and second place votes between them that got separated of the 30 votes. So 2 swing and it might be tied. I don't know how they score, but you look at 53 home runs to 60 RBIs, 114 to 125. Judge had more runs substantially. His on base percentage was higher, and I guess his wins were raw wins above replacement was a little bit better by 1 point, but I guess 247 is what he hit compared to Judge, which hit 322. I mean, that's a big difference in batting average, but I just think Cal Raleigh meant more to his team. I mean, he was able to carry his team deeper into the playoffs and everything. And I know the MVP stops at the regular season, but I just think he meant more to how Seattle became how they were. And in other forms of racing, sports I follow, racing, nothing really great happening. I mean, Lando Norris won in Mexico, pushing his lead out. In the F1 standings, Verstappen closed it down, or finished second there down in Mexico. So they got a few more races to go to decide it. It's still close. I think it's like 45 or something like that points back to Verstappen in third, and 20 some odd points back to Oscar Piastri, who's in second. Both McLaren drivers 1 and 2. So we'll see how that championship season goes. NASCAR still debating on their new format, or whether they want to go back to a 10 race chase format and how they determine the playoff drivers, or if they're going to go back to season long. Personally, I prefer season long. As a NASCAR fan, I used to watch it religiously, but maybe they'll go back to that. Anyways, that's my thought of what happened this week in sports. As always, let me know, comment, share with your friends. Let me know what I can do better. Let me know what topics you want me to discuss. And I'll try to discuss it. I wouldn't mind taking this video longer, to 45 to an hour, discussing your questions or thoughts, or what my thoughts are on a certain topic. And maybe one of these days I'll just make it longer by myself, just and then something, I don't know, I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, just let me know. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy my podcast, and I'll see you next Friday.